Hey, everybody. Before we start today's episode, I've got to tell you something very exciting that's happening on April 10th and 11th. I'm doing a workshop called The Reboot, which all started 15 plus years ago when every day I would wake up thinking today is going to be the day where everything falls into place, and then it wouldn't be the day where everything would fall into place. I would mess up. My kids would push back. And there was this one night that began it all and started a chain reaction. But this one night where I was in my bedroom or my bathroom, I was locked away. Many different versions of this happened where I would escape. And I am a big journal writer. So I would pull out my journal and I would start writing things down. And what started happening was me writing down what worked today, what didn't work today, and I had a list of what didn't work today, and what's something I can do tomorrow that will make things just a little bit better. And in those moments when I started doing that, I began to be able to breathe again. Not because everything was fixed, but because I started to have clarity. I started to have a plan. I started to call it my little reboot, kind of like when your computer freezes, you have to turn it off again. But for parenting, it was a moment of sanity, a moment of presence, a moment of clarity around what was working, which was really hard for me to figure out at the beginning, but I got better at it. And I didn't know what I was doing then. It slowly unfolded to become daily reboots, weekly reboots. And then my husband had started a business at the time. They were doing quarterly planning and reviews, and I thought, ooh, I love that idea. So we started doing quarterly reboots. And what has happened over the years when I've done these reboots for myself is that I've been able to look at what's the next thing I want to focus on for the next 90 days. And for the first time ever, I'm going to do it with the public. I was going to do it just with my amazing moms inside of League. And then I thought it would be fun to open it up to everyone. So we're going to do it over 2 days. You're going to create one plan. There's going to be zero judgment. We're going to get all of the transformation that you need to prepare for the next 90 days because it is Q2. Businesses plan in quarters. And I think we should take parenting as seriously as business owners take their business. So if you're in League, you get this. If you aren't in League, I'm opening it up to you and you can get it for just $7, the cost of one of those fancy drinks you go through the drive-thru for in the morning. And I would love to have you. So I have a whole site that I wrote up very quickly, but it's there. And you can find it at connectmethodparenting.com/reboot, where you can see a little bit more about what we're doing. Where we're going to review what's happened. We're going to reflect. We're going to reset, and then we're going to rise up to create the most amazing, doable plan, simple, doable plan for the next 90 days that you can either run with on your own, or if you'd like a little bit of help, I'll talk about how I can help you do that. We're going to do a lot of talking and coaching and planning and workshopping and sharing. So come ready to feel the love and support from a very amazing community and create clarity around why things haven't been working and a very doable plan so that things will turn around for you in the next 90 days so that you can up level to the next level. I'm going to be doing it right along with you. We started something in League the beginning of this year called Your Best Year Yet. And this is one of the elements that is contributing to that for everyone. And I want that for every parent who wants that. So if you're in League, no, I'm so excited to walk you through this. If you're not in League, come join us. $7. Make this your best quarter yet. All right. Should we get on to the episode? Welcome to the Connect Method Parenting Podcast, where correction is out, connection is in, and your kids want to listen to you. I'm Andy Martineau, creator of Connect Method Parenting, here to help you stay calm, confident, and connected no matter what. Hey, everybody. I've got something really exciting to share with you. I'm dropping this extra bonus episode on a day I normally don't drop episodes because there's been something so game-changing for me. It could be for you too. It is really for anybody who jumps on board, but if you're in the place and you're ready to up-level your parenting, this is for you, so listen up. You know that feeling when you're in survival mode, when the sibling battles seem to be endless, dinner is getting rejected, bedtime feels like climbing Mount Everest. I've been there. In fact, I vividly remember one Tuesday night, I had locked myself in my bathroom to get some type of refuge. I was very desperate. I was very out of control. I didn't want to do anything I regretted. So I excused myself to the bathroom. One of the few places, are you with me on this? One of the few places that we can legitimately say, I need to go alone. I need to have some space. And I slid down the door. I had a journal and a pencil or a pen. I don't know. But whatever I could grab. I had this writing utensil. I don't remember what it was, but I was a very avid journaler at the time and still am. I love to write so that I can have awareness around what's going on. And I was needing a lot of awareness this night. And in that moment, I asked myself many questions, but what became my tried and true questions that I love to ask myself is what worked today. That was so hard for me in the midst of that chaos and that confusion and the kids not listening. It took me a while. I got better at it, but it took me a while to acknowledge success. I was so focused on what wasn't working. So this became a really important question for me. What worked today? If you haven't asked yourself that question lately, ask yourself that question right now. Write down 3 things that worked today. It will change your life if you ask yourself that question every day. And it's not going to lead to arrogance. It's not going to lead to being prideful. It's going to lead to confidence. It's going to lead to an ability for you to create what you want. So what worked today? So I was sitting there, asked many questions, but these are the 3 that have stuck with me over the years. What worked today? What didn't work today? And oh my goodness, I always had a lot of things that I could talk about around there. That question opened up the Pandora box for me. I always had a lot to write down, so I'd write that down. And then I would ask myself, what's one thing I can do differently tomorrow? And you know what I found over and over again as I did this is I would feel not a miracle, not a solution, but a clearing. Like someone had opened the window in a smoke-filled room. I could breathe again. I started calling it my reboot. It was this ritual of honest reflection, clearing away all of the failures, all of the judgment, without dragging them into tomorrow. I could see them, I could look at them honestly without making tomorrow just more of what happened today. So those daily reboots became weekly check-ins, and those weekly reflections evolved into seasonal resets or reboots. And this rhythm transformed not just my calendar, but my entire relationship with motherhood, my relationship with my children, from surviving, barely making it through all of the chaos, to authoring my story, from feeling reactive to intentional, from I can't do this to I know exactly what my children need. And yes, I also learned about attachment theory, psychology in much more depth than I learned when I was going through nursing school. I learned a lot of principles about development and what's appropriate. I studied so many things along the way, but I don't believe I could have implemented and changed my default way of being if I hadn't been doing this inquiry and then planning accordingly. So what happened and what I want to tell you all about, which I don't even think I've mentioned what I'm talking about right here in this episode, is I'm doing a public session where I'm leading people through a reboot. This is the first time I'm inviting you all, anyone who is interested, to come inside this process for a quarterly reboot experience with me. It's going to be 2 days. It's happening April 10th and 11th, which might be really soon when you're listening to this or a week or so out. It's going to happen both days at noon Eastern. The sessions are going to go between 60 and 90 minutes. I'm not sure. Never done this publicly, so we're going to see how it goes. But we're going to take 2 days to reset what's broken, to reclaim what matters to you, and then to rise up to the next version of ourselves, to design the next season, the next 90 days with intention. So these are going to be 2 days that will transform the next 90. It sounds like a very incredible return on our investments. So why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I have seen firsthand how this process can transform not just parenting, not just the entire family dynamic, but your entire life. It's changed everything from my health to my priorities, to what I'm creating, to my hobbies, to my relationships with my kids. And I want to offer this to everyone. Now, it started as me just seeing what's happening inside of my group, which is the League of Extraordinarily Connected Parents. And what has happened just over the last 18 months in there has been incredible. So you've probably heard me talk about this before, but I'm just going to recap really quick in case you haven't. People come in to start working with me typically through the Pivot, which is an 8-week boot camp. I think it's a great way to describe it. It's intense. I found that creating this foundational understanding of how our brain works and the nervous system and triggers and developmental psychology and doing the work to start to change our neural pathways, so start to change our default way of being, is crucial before you come in and deep dive with me inside of CMP Mastery. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can just join League, which then you would go through Pivot and then transition into CMP Mastery, which is where we're deep diving on a lot of the topics we cover in Pivot at a deeper level, as well as different important topics that need to be addressed and learned and incorporated to become the best parent that you possibly can be. We're just finishing up this month in March, it's April now, so last month in March, where we did a deep dive on compassionate alpha, which I think every parent needs to hear. But I don't have time to do that inside of Pivot, because Pivot is about taking someone from where they are and getting them a good, broad understanding of Connect Method parenting. And then Mastery is where we do the repetition and we do the deep dive to make those patterns the default. And I just had a call today. It was so good that 2 amazing moms jumped on and talked about, it was just all wins today in our office hours call, how the neural pathways, how the default way of being was coming into real life, because they had done the work, both showing up and getting help from me, doing the work on their own, doing their daily piece. And it had caught up to real time. And it was so exciting. And that's what happens when you come into Mastery, is we make as much progress as we possibly can in the 8 weeks. But for the pathways to really be established, for the patterns to really be locked in and the habits developed, you have to take more time. And I wish I could speed it up, but it's just how our brains work. So that is what is happening. So anyway, I went on a little tangent, but here's the point of that whole thing. So we started off 2025 with the intention of 2025 being the best year yet. And I've walked the members of Mastery, the CMP Mastery gals, to the last 3 months into that process. And then I had this idea, now that we have this foundation, I've got to teach them the reboot. We've got to now start thinking in quarters. And so I was just going to do it for the members in CMP Mastery, but I got thinking, and I thought this would be really beneficial for any parent, even if you haven't worked with me at all. It's going to be beneficial. If you worked with me, it's going to be even more beneficial. If you're still working with me inside of League, it's going to be amazing. And if you come through Reboot and you would like help implementing this for the next 90 days to make this your best quarter, this best 90 days of your life, you can do that. And we'll talk about how we can do that. So I'm inviting you inside this process for the quarterly reboot on April 10th and 11th, because it is important that we are revisiting our life. We're reviewing it. We're resetting it. We're looking at what's not working. We're looking at what's working and celebrating. We're looking at the what's not working and looking with compassion and kindness at those areas of our life. We're reclaiming what matters. We're refocusing. We're reprioritizing. And then we're intentionally deciding what we're going to focus on for the next 90 days. I've seen firsthand how this process can transform your life. I've taken parents through this informally and watched them go from getting triggered, from yelling, to staying calm in the face of chaos. I just saw it today. I've seen relationships heal. I've seen kids start listening, not because they're afraid, but because they feel connected and safe. And the magic for all of that wasn't hidden in some complicated system. It lives in the pause, the honest reflection, the permission to be gloriously imperfect, to commit to grow without shame, one day at a time, one reboot at a time. So that's what we're doing. I'm so excited. I've tried to make it as ridiculously affordable as possible. $7 if you aren't currently working with me. Again, if you're in League, this is happening. Just plan on it. I will recommend that everybody who comes, you set aside this time, get a babysitter if you have littles at home, try to be there and attentive if at all possible so that you can do the work with me. It's going to be really fulfilling and you're going to feel very productive if you can come and together we can do the workshopping work together, that you don't have to do it on your own. Now, if you can't come, there will be replays that you'll get access to for 30 days if you're not in league. So you can get this done, but it's going to be the best if you can come, turn on your camera, be focused, bring some paper, a pencil, something to drink, and be present. So over these 2 days, I've adapted a proven quarterly planning methodology. It's something that my husband used in his business that I started adapting into parenting. We're going to break it down into 3 key phrases. First, reflect. I'm going to take you through an eye-opening 5-step process that's going to help you really see what's been going on in your life, with your parenting, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's all safe to look at. We're going to look at what's working, what's not working, and why. Then we're going to reset. So based on those reflection exercises, I'm going to help you very intentionally pick the best goals from the upcoming season. There's so much you could focus on, and my brain loves to bop around from thing to thing to thing. I have a little bit of ADHD going on. And what I have found is when I focus, when I practice dialing it in on just a couple of things, I make more progress. So I have a simple approach to help you create focus and to look at where you're going to make the biggest impact in your life based on what your priorities are. And finally, we're going to rise up. We're going to rise up to the person you want to be, to the challenges that you're facing. Because once you're clear on what truly matters, you're going to design a Rise Up 90-day parenting plan that turns intention into action. No fluff, no overwhelm, just clear, focused creation to create the change you've been wanting. So by the end of our 2 days, you're going to walk away with a plan that feels doable and not overwhelming. You're going to have clarity on your top priorities because trying to fix everything at once never works. We're going to have some possible things depending on what your priorities are to talk about triggers, minimal viable parenting, a backup plan when things get crazy, how to do daily and weekly check-in practices to keep you on track. And most importantly, you're going to have the confidence that you can parent differently even when things are hard. And again, we're going to do this simply. We're going to do this doably. It's going to feel easy because we're doing it together. Again, $7 if you're not working with me right now. $7, transform your parenting. My mission in life, other than being the most incredible mom for my kids and have a really great marriage with my husband, right up there, right underneath those things, is to make a huge impact on families and parents out there. So this is part of that mission for me. So it's one of the big reasons I'm doing this. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Can we really solve all of my parenting challenges in 2 days? Well, no, we can't. I'm not selling magic beans. I wish there was some quick fix or potion or pill I could give you. But what we can do in 2 days is focus in on what exactly you are stuck in. Where are you not making the progress you want to make? And build a personalized roadmap to shift you into connective territory, out of the corrective zone into connective territory. Think about it like getting the world's best treasure map. X marks the spot. That's where your kids actually want to listen to you, where you feel good about how you even ask them to put on their shoes or make their bed. That's the digging for treasure part. That's the part that's going to feel amazing. That's the 90-day journey we're creating. But unlike wandering aimlessly, hoping to stumble on some parenting gold, you're going to have the coordinates. You're going to know where to dig. You're going to know what tools to use to find the spot that's going to create what you want, to help you troubleshoot your challenges. We're going to talk about how you're going to celebrate your wins along the way, how to implement your plan. And if you're in league, I'm going to support you for these 90 days like you cannot believe. I can't wait to tell you about all the things I have in store that are rolling out starting in April. If you're not in league, that's totally fine. You're going to still find so much value and you can jump into league if you want. But you can also take your plan and implement it on your own. Or you can join us down the road if you decide, hey, I thought I was wanting to do this on my own, but I would really like some ongoing support. So the reboot isn't about making you a perfect parent, because perfect parents don't exist. And if I was trying to tell you, I'm going to solve all your problems in 90 days and you're never going to have to worry about it again, I would run very fast, because that's not, I don't find that to be true, to be possible. I feel like every time I up-level my life, I'm given more opportunities for growth in the form of more challenges. So what I am suggesting we're going to create is more capacity in these 90 days, more capacity, more growth, more connection, and you're going to look back and feel as though if you follow through on your 90 plan, you're going to feel as though in these last 90 days, you have created more than you have in the last year. So the reboot is about helping you become more intentional, more connected, more confident in your parenting. It's about trading the hamster wheel of reactivity for a clear path forward. So if you're ready to reboot your parenting and create the best 90 days of your life, join me on April 10th and 11th. It'll be at noon Eastern both days. You can find all of the details to sign up at connectmethodparenting.com/reboot. I'll put the link in the show notes. And remember, this experience, the whole reason I even am doing reboots is because I was feeling like a broken mother on a bathroom floor multiple nights in a row. But instead of staying there, I decided it was time to begin again. I had the courage to begin again. And I want you to have the courage to begin again. I love the new year because it naturally gives us this time of reset and renewal. But we can do that every 90 days. We can have that same renewal, that same reset. And when we divide the year into 90-day chunks, it's almost as if we get 4 years every year, 4 years of progress every year. So I can't wait to share this all with you. I'm so excited. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in today. I can't wait to see you all in the reboot. If you're in league, I'll see you there for sure. If you're not, come join us. You have nothing to lose. I promise you're going to get so much value out of this. And until next time, till the next episode drops, keep connecting with your kids, keep growing, and remember, you've got this. All right, we'll see you soon. Thanks so much for listening, you all. If you are ready to learn more about Connect Method Parenting, if you've been listening to the podcast and you think, ooh, I'd love to be able to implement this in my life and with my parenting more, then check out Pivot. It's my 8-week program where we deep dive into learning and implementing Connect Method Parenting so that you can take this information and transform your parenting journey. Head over to connectmethodparenting.com to find out when the next group starts.